All right, after a week's or well, like 2 weeks hiatus, actually, it's considered. The challenge series isn't going anywhere. I did, but the challenge series isn't. You know, we're still in for a long haul. I just was not home for a week and wanted to, get settled in back home and socialize with people before getting back on my bullshit with the challenge series, but we return to your regularly scheduled programming, and there's a lot of things that happen between this episode and the last episode and this one. A lot of new things, some pretty major and some not so major, and things you may not even notice if I didn't point them out. So with no further delays, let's get into the first race and begin exploring some of those new developments. We are green from the first race here in episode 76. And we are on board with Trevor Graham. 4 laps of the Red Bull Ring, a track that we haven't actually used as often as I figured we would be. And at 640 class racing to get us started here. Graham is going to make a calculated dive bomb on several cars. Ironically, despite it being a dive bomb, he's one of very few cars back here who didn't run into somebody. Some new vehicles. We've actually got them neatly framed here. Well, these aren't new vehicles. They brought them here when they showed up, but some of the Mercury Racing crew signed up with more than one vehicle at their disposal. Kotori Minami brings a new Alfa Romeo 4C to the Challenge Series, along with her 8C. Liza Kaiser, brain words, names are hard. Looking for an explosive debut with her new, her personal 930 911, which she's owned for a long time. And Umi shows up in her original Audi TT, as there's cars pitting over there as they vanish into non-existence. Her original Audi TT remains in 640 class, but has been given a dramatic redesign as a Valvoline livery car. And Liza and Kotori are making a mockery of the first corner up here, battling for P3. But it looks like Kaiser's Porsche has a slight edge in top end and will pull ahead of the 4C. Looking further back. Oh yeah, I didn't recognize the rear end of that car. 7 vehicles have obtained damage here on the first lap. Trevor Graham, not one of them. Running right in the middle of the pack as we make our way through the second lap of the race. Sizes up a move on a fellow Sylvia driver, and I think the slightest nudge made there, but he is clear and away ahead of Kyoko Sugimoto, who hasn't made too many starts. This is one of her first few, and in the grand scheme of things, it's not going terribly, although she just got embarrassed by Reiko Mishima, another Nissan. Okay, now she's beginning to fall like a rock. Meanwhile, in the background, Tyler McIntosh has taken the lead, and he's running away with it over Gracie Gordon. This is a driver who's also not made a lot of starts lately. For a while, I thought they were just done with the series altogether, but apparently it was an availability thing, although they didn't exactly give details. No, we got more damaged cars, Kotori among them. Pepper Mills and Liv Newstein along with her. Trevor Graham on the outside looking in at the top 5. And has quite a big top speed advantage over that Audi, so I think it'll be his. My god, McIntosh is gone! Eliza takes the inside of turn 4 and makes a textbook overtake on the BRZ. Interesting that that was a battle for second place between a driver who is a lesbian and a driver who is trans. And then there's just Satoshi Rollins, who is just himself. So far, only 9 competitors in this race have not taken damage throughout it. Trevor Graham making an absolute mockery of the first turn. Satoshi Rollins outdrags Tracy Gordon heading towards turns 2 and 3. Graham will do the same. Oh, Rollins has bashed Trevor Graham right off the racetrack. He bounced off that curb and he pole vaulted himself at the Sylvia driver. Oh, didn't notice that the first time. Trevor made contact on the braking zone. I don't want to say that that was why Rollins did that. Doesn't really seem like something you do intentionally, hop a curb and smack into someone, but it's not a 0% chance. Oh my Jesus Christ! That actually scared me. Breaking the fourth wall, I knew it was coming. Because obviously, you know, I'm the one that drove this car. That was a conscious choice on my end, but I forgot my own conscious choice. Yeah. It seems Trevor really didn't like being slightly run off the racetrack, and has decided to basically bonsai Satoshi Rollins' Corvette. He never even hit the brake. And he puts him into the wall for good measure. An interesting note, Rollins begins to drive away. He just has to wait for traffic, but this seems like a sign of life to me. I think Satoshi's car is fine. Definitely not saying the same for Trevor's Sylvia, and even if it were okay, he's never touching a Challenge Series racetrack ever again if I have anything to say about it. And oh wait, I'm the admin. I do have something to say about it. Look to the sky, Trevor. It's the last time you will, because I've seen about enough of this. Pitiful. I was so focused on a dramatic fade out, I kind of forgot to mention who finished where. Yeah, this was a race. The yellow flag was called, and the race was stopped as soon as that would happen, but, you know, there is a race. As much as I'm sure this could have been an interesting battle for the win between Kaiser and Tyler, we're not going to get that because somebody decides to get a little pissy because somebody scratched his paintwork. Since the caution was called and the race was declared official right about here, Ty McIntosh is victorious over Eliza Kaiser, and Gracie Gordon grabs a podium just by way of existing. Mishima 4th, Umi 5th, Fidel Fabian 6th. Rollins will be credited with 7th, as his car was in motion at the time of the caution being thrown. Fuckface is banned, and he's never been seen ever again. Race 2 is green. We head to Lago Maggiore for 680 class. And Tony Lombardi is the focus car, as he's starting in last place. Let's see. What developments are there in this one? Oh yes, there's one. Noir's replacement machine. Not really sure how she managed to acquire this vehicle, but after her GTO had its transmission failure at the Grand Valley 60K, she almost immediately produced a brand new vehicle, a 2002 NSX. These don't just spawn, they're not common by any means, but she refuses to explain to me how in the name of fuck she found it, and or got her hands on it. Also a slight redesign on Amy's GTO, and she is running alongside one of the two debuting drivers in this race. The first, Luca Antonini, a sci-fi diehard and alien conspiracy theorist who is obsessed with pretty much anything that has to do with space or aliens, as Kotori tries to fit her car into a space that it's not going to fit into. The other one is Michael Mayfield, a driver of baseball fame, American baseball star who was given a rigged performance-enhancing drug test and was ostracized from the sports league entirely. So he's now just kind of here as a refugee more than anything else. The 4th-gen Corvette he is running was originally owned and maintained by his late father. I remember I caught his name, his father's name was... I don't actually remember. Lombardi just gained 4 places on one straightaway. This is a fucking clusterfuck. Stephanie gets right into the back of Kotori big time, but does not do any damage to her vehicle, so no harm, no foul. Martin, that was his name, Martin Mayfield, that's his dad. His mother, Marianne Mayfield, is alive. And is an avid supporter, I believe, of her son's decision to switch to motorsports. Luca doesn't like his parents, so he wouldn't even talk about him when I asked. Then again, with how cagey he is, I'm surprised he talked to me at all when I asked. How does this happen? These are random grids, I'd like to remind you. But we have a Maserati Gran Turismo 1, 2, 3. Every single Maserati Gran Turismo in the series is on the screen right now. What the fuck? And Lombardi has very quickly caught up to them as well. And I can only imagine where this is going. I shouldn't even have to tell the viewers what's the tension between Violetta Vegas and Tony Lombardi. Yep. I'm not surprised by anything. Congratulations. He's damaged his own car doing that. Yep, another big smack. Vegas maintains control, is overtaken by Maki though. Lombardi just missed and smacks into Maki instead there. I don't think she'll like that one. She's a little more than a bystander here, and Lombardi just got her caught up. Maki elects to not retaliate. Probably knowing how bad it looks for me. And around goes the 616. Not exactly a damaging maneuver, but certainly enough to send a message and make her lose many positions. Maki's car also considerably damaged by this, as is Tony's own car, as he now has suspension damage, courtesy of that. He's really struggling to get this car to go forward, you know? Oh. That is some immense crab walking. Almost seems dramatic. Naturally, Maki pits, courtesy of all the damage sustained from Lombardi's antics. Now, for anybody wondering what the difference between this and Trevor Graham's, ban, Lombardi is intentionally running into people, but he's not hitting them very hard. Congratulations. He's just doing a pit maneuver on Vegas earlier, which is probably not going to kill her, or even really hurt her all that much. If we were to escalate his attacks, because what we saw with Trevor Graham at Red Bull Ring was him literally not braking for a hairpin and running into the back of somebody with about a 90-mile-an-hour difference in speed at the point of impact. That will very much hurt somebody, and Satoshi Rollins is lucky to have even walked away from that. Much less with his car still in working order. You know, I want to hate him right now, but Lombardi is honestly kind of hauling ass with all this damage. I would be impressed if he weren't such a fucktard right now. Oh, not anymore. Barely collects Fernando Fedonzi with that spin. Let's get an outside or external view of this. Yeah, suspension bottoms out there, and that's a spinning Evo, which just tail whips Fernando Fedonzi's Gran Turismo. We have a clusterfuck at the apex of the turn, and here comes Kotori to potentially seize the moment. Nope, they've already gotten away again. Our two new guys are having a fine debut, on another note. They've not been spectacular by any means, but they've not been bad, as we have another week. The battle for the lead continues, despite both cars being pretty much cripples. Final turn, and Lombardi with a huge advantage on the corner exit. The Maserati should have more horsepower, but it might not matter with that almighty corner exit. Fuckface, I mean Lombardi, is going to take the victory at Lago Maggiore. An Italian 1-2 result. And then an Italian car, with an Italian company as a sponsor, will claim P3. So the home crowd should be maybe satisfied? I'm not really sure what to call that, to be honest. Yeah. Italy has been represented well, finishing first and second, and an Italian car with Italian sponsors placing third, but also, like, Lombardi is a menace, and he's kind of on the razor's edge between what's considered fair legal conduct and what's considered suspension or ban worthy. You don't really have a probation protocol here in the Challenge Series, so that's not really a thing. Otherwise, I'm sure that's what I'd be. That's probably what I'd be utilizing right now to, you know, at least give him a little slap on the wrist, a bit of a "don't do that again" type shtick, and then if he does do it again, he gets a vacation, and, you know, the story goes on, blah, 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 blah. But ultimately what he was doing was not really that much physical harm to Vegas, just spun her around and made her lose a bunch of places, damaged her car, but, like, it clearly didn't mean to hurt her yet. Key word, yet. Race 3 ahead of Race 3. That was good English. You have a very eccentric starting grid here. Some vehicles making their first appearance in the Dirt Division. And not the least of which is this rally car here, in the form of Kazuma Hanamura, with this Sega Rally-based ST205. Starting in front of a Rallycross legend, and behind two very skilled rally drivers. So the front two rows are pretty loaded, and honestly, Hanamura kind of looks like a pretender up here. Luca Antonini is immediately going to use Subaru to do Subaru things and drive off-road. Reen is going to be the first of... Actually, no, just the first and currently only Mercury Racing driver to decide to take part in a Dirt Division race. Logan wouldn't miss these for the world. This is an interesting one. Victoria Noir is here in her NSX for a rally race. There's the running gag of Rally Stallion, now Rally Chicken, I believe is what Logan has called his Firebird. I don't know if a Rally NSX is going to work. Mid-engine is a sketchy prospect. Also, Liza Kaiser, in her 930 Porsche, decides to go rallying. And this race would be a 20-car grid, but it's only 19. Tony Lombardi's Evo 5? Or is it a 4? Whatever his older generation Evo is, wouldn't start. You couldn't get it to the venue. So that's unfortunate. I'm gonna pretend to feel any sort of sympathy for a guy that did the things he was doing in the last race. As the green flag is in the air, metaphorically speaking, right away, Hanamura is being muscled out of the way by the Rally Stallion. He already got jumped off the grid by Colin Morris. And Tetsuya Harada, no doubt with the whole shot here, as he's already made pretty good headway, even on Rantanen. Noir's fighting for her life in that thing right now. Tries to produce an overtake against Futaba and the Tundra, and she does, maybe. Sort of gets cut off by Hanamura along the way, but she'll actually grab both places anyhow. Ew. That didn't look good for the old dampeners. Or dampers. Damp that. The old dampers there. That one just trickles down into the slow consecutive hairpins. Looking cool, trying to defend from a car in a lower category, I think. Yeah. It does have success. However, Damien Kotexa is actually right in the middle of the, well, he's ahead of Antonini and Logan, despite being in a 640 class truck. Somehow the Rally NSX survives the death jump. Vincent looking a little bit out of his depth right now as he's being outclassed by all of the 600 class cars, unless he had a spin early on. There's the big, huge jump. Did Dwarf just tag Morris in midair? Sure did, twice, in fact. That's an interesting one. You ever had an Acura NSX land on your head, Colin? And then just power slide around your outside as if nothing's out of the ordinary here? I guess mid-engine rear-wheel drive has some advantage. Not there, it didn't, though. Just had understeer, Renton and just smacked that wall. Saw that. I'm sure the trucks don't really have many problems with that jump, that's for sure. Noir is in an NSX, and she's currently taking the battle to two current-day rally gods in the form of Rantanen and, well, maybe sort of Tetsuya Harada, but not really that close to him yet. She's currently having to get through his buddy. That's a save, my word. Oh. Noir suddenly appeared. I don't think Rantanen was ready for an NSX to be there, especially not after the way that she got off the previous jump. Also, we once again have a case of Thrasher being ahead of Colin Morris. The first Dirt Division race, that was a talking point that Thrasher was in a rear-wheel drive car beating a Rallycross legend. Speaking of beating, Noir just embarrasses Harada through that corner. And so an NSX is leading the way in this rally race. How did we get here? But these slow corners are where the 22B has been making its time up, and a little bit forceful on Noir, but you know, you're racing off-road and you kind of, there's a certain level of that you kind of expect. And Harada will muscle his way back into the race lead. Noir, not to be outdone, will power slide back ahead of the Subaru though, and the war for the win here in Fisherman's Ranch will continue as we go over the scary jump. The NSX not so pleased this time, but that's another big save just to keep the car pointed the right direction. But Harada will seize the opportunity in front of him and reclaim the race lead again. And now it understeers. The NSX does. Cortexa's going to town with this truck. He's ahead of 4 vehicles in the higher category. Noir's right there with the Impreza, but you just can't convert. And we have more slow speed turns where the 22B has been, it's been very successful, and this is no exception. He just scorches ahead in the distance. Noir just struggles to find grip. Ooh, big smack from Thrasher. Well, this is gonna get people talking, but it's not enough. Tetsuya Harada is gonna grab another Dirt Division victory here at Fisherman's Ranch. The NSX of Noir with the Miracle P2, and Ranton will round out the podium, sitting there alongside his best buddy. The Rally Stally will grab P4, and the 640 class Ford Raptor of Damien Kotexa will sneak into 7th overall, putting 4 680 class cars in his dust. And Vincent Houston lost to a 600 class Lancia Delta. His teammate didn't exactly rock the world either, but at least she finished amongst her peers in the 640 class, which Vincent has failed to do. Maybe it's no big surprise that Kotexa ran away with the 640 category. He's in that category with 5 other cars, and none of them were 4-wheel drive. So, yeah, I mean, I guess that doesn't surprise me that he's beaten them. It does surprise me, though, that he has beaten multiple 680 class cars, and 2 of the 4 that he did beat are 4-wheel drive, for good measure. Hanamura and Antonini's cars are all-wheel drive. So, he just straight up had a better vehicle than them, despite being in the category of slower vehicles. I don't know. I don't know how he's done that. But, under race 4, whatever the case may be,